It is week 4 of the NFL season. Of course, we're predicting every single NFL game this year, along with college football. And of course, yesterday we posted our college football predictions. So go check that video out. Link is in the description down below. On Sunday, we posted our UFC Fight Night Paris predictions with Renato Moicano and Benoit Saint-Denis in the main event. And on Monday, we posted our PFL Europe predictions with Stevie Ray and Lewis Long headlining this PFL playoffs card for PFL Europe. So we got all that out the way. Folks, if you haven't yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below again for some more weekly NFL and college football picks. And let's do it. Let's get on to every single game this week in the NFL. And we start things off here with a Thursday night game between the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Football Giants. Again, picking the NFL has been really difficult this year, I think. Again, it feels like every single week a bunch of huge favorites lose. Teams that are expected to win lose. The 49ers last week lost in Los Angeles. The Bucs lose to the Broncos. Hell, the Browns lose at home to the Giants. I mean, what's going on? Again, I feel like sometimes, I think maybe if I just flip a coin, I might have a better chance of predicting this game rather than actually thinking about who's playing in each game, thinking about how these teams match up. But no, I'm going to continue to give you actual analysis on these picks and hope that it actually pays off. We're taking the Dallas Cowboys to win this football game, but we're taking the New York Football Giants to cover the 5.5. Malik Neighbors, guys, is one of the best rookie receivers of all time. I'm serious. He is getting into all-time territory now about how good this guy is. And don't get me wrong, skill-wise, talent-wise, Marvin Harrison Jr. might be right there, but the way the Giants use him in this offense, I'm talking about Malik Neighbors, he is the guy in New York. And is it because Daniel Jones just kind of eyes in on him the entire play and just throws to Malik Neighbors? Sure, it is some of that too. And is it because they completely don't have a run game? I mean, yes, Devin Singletary can run it, but he's not the best runner of the football, at least again with this line that he's running behind. Sure. But again, in this offense, Malik Neighbors is that guy for New York. He is going to get the ball. Of course, we've seen it week in and week out. We saw it last week in Cleveland. We saw it a couple weeks ago when they played the Washington Commanders. Malik Neighbors gets the football all the time. And for now, he looks like the best receiver of this draft class. Again, I love Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's going to be a stud in the NFL for a very long time as well. But for now, again, Malik Neighbors looks like that guy. I've said that too many times, but he looks like, the best receiver out that draft class. I still think the Cowboys win the football game. I think the Giants keep it close. Again, New York hasn't looked bad these last couple weeks. I think they were just a few mistakes away last week or 2 weeks ago against the Washington Commanders in Landover from winning that game. Obviously, they went to Cleveland last week and won, and yeah, the Browns that good? No, but still, going to Cleveland and winning, I think, is an accomplishment. When we look at the Dallas Cowboys, again, this is a team that, fell behind early against the Ravens. They made a lot of mistakes in that football game. They made a lot of mistakes 2 weeks ago against the New Orleans Saints as well. And I'll say again, the Cowboys have not looked good since week 1 where they beat the Cleveland Browns. This is, again, I think their easiest matchup of the season, but still going on the road in prime time. I think this is a moderately difficult game for Dakota Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. Again, I think they win it, but I don't think they can pull away from the Giants here. I think there's going to be opportunities in this game where the Giants will be ahead, where the Giants are going to get chances to go ahead in this football game. But I think ultimately the Cowboys will win. I think they are the better football team. You look at their defense, they should be able to hold the Giants for the most part. I think, again, Malik Neighbors will get his touches and will get his yards, but I think for the most part the Cowboys win the football game. I don't think they cover. I think 5.5 is way too much. And if I've learned anything from the NFL over the last couple weeks is that, again, underdogs have been cashing pretty easily and they've been covering the spread pretty easily as well. So give me the Dallas Cowboys to win the football game, but give me the New York Giants to cover at home on Thursday Night Football. Let's go on to the Sunday games. We start things off here with the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons. Weird couple weeks for these two teams. Obviously, the Saints were on top of the world 2 weeks ago, beating the Cowboys. Derek Carr was the MVP for this, for the first 2 weeks of the season. Now that MVP is, I was going to say Sam Darnold, but it's really Josh Allen. But shout out to Sam Darnold. He's playing exceptionally well for the Minnesota Vikings. But when you look again with the Saints, they went from week 2 to beating the Cowboys to week 3, not really looking that great against the Eagles. The offense stalling out many times in that football game. And sure, again, the Saints were in a position at the end of that game. They scored. They got the touchdown. They could not convert in the 2-point conversion. But you felt like, again, the Saints were in position to win that football game. Their defense let them down. They didn't let them down throughout the entirety of the game, but at the end of the game, again, the defense did let up that touchdown drive that Jalen Hurts led down the field, of course, with that huge conversion to Dallas Goedert on 3rd and 1 million. It was a good win for the Eagles. The Saints again took a step back last week. For the Atlanta Falcons, of course, beating the Eagles 2 weeks ago, but then dropping the game last week to the Kansas City Chiefs. A close game, but still Kansas City got the better of them in the end. Were there some interesting calls in that game or lack of calls? Sure, but again, that's every Kansas City Chiefs game at this point, so I'm just come to expect that when we're predicting a Kansas City Chiefs game. Hell, Derwin James is suspended this week, but the guy who hit, I'm gonna be honest with you, I forgot who hit Devontae Smith late, but once Devontae Smith was, unconscious on the ground, and when one of the New Orleans players hit him after the guy was already unconscious, that guy's not suspended next week, but Derwin James is. Also, whoever hit Brandon Ayuk in the back of the head on that last lateral play for the Los Angeles Rams isn't suspended next week, but Derwin James is. Why? Because they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. Anyways, I will get to my little Chiefs spiel later when they do play the 2-1 Chargers. But Atlanta, again, every week, I'm never sold on the Falcons. Even that game that they beat the Eagles, again, they had a really nice, good that last drive was really great at Kirk Cousins. But the rest of the game, nothing really impressed me out of that Falcons team, and I'm still not all that impressed with this Atlanta squad at all. I understand the games in Atlanta, but I like the Saints better. I do like their offense. I think they get back on track. I think they just ran into a very difficult team, the Philadelphia Eagles, that has, again, struggled some at the beginning of the season, but still, that's an Eagles team that is 2-1. That's an Eagles team that is expected to definitely win the NFC East. I'm not putting down the Saints that much just yet. I'm not selling my stocks at all with Derek Carr. Again, I think that was one bad week. This is a bounce back opportunity against the Falcons, a divisional game. I think they go on the road and win the football game. They are underdogs going into this one, but we are picking the underdogs to go in there and win at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. To our next one, the Los Angeles Rams go to Chicago to take on the Bears. Okay, guys, I have taken the Los Angeles Rams to win a football game every week since the wild card round last year. I picked them to be the Detroit Lions last year in the playoffs. They didn't. Okay, I've learned my lesson picking against the Detroit Lions. But anyways, I picked them in week 1 to cover against the Rams. I did not pick them to win the football game. I picked them to cover. Did not happen. Okay. Week 2, I picked them to beat the Arizona Cardinals. Did not happen. Week 3, I picked, again, the 49ers to absolutely dismantle the Rams. And what do I get for that? The Rams win the football game. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. All-time bad choke job by the San Francisco 49ers. Shout out Ronnie Bell. Ball's in his, literally, hits him in the chest. I mean, what are we doing? Anyways. The Rams looked better last week. Now, I don't know how it's possible because Matthew Stafford in the first half looked like he was injured, looked like he couldn't run, was doing a little flick throw with his wrist all the damn time. And no, that's not because he's trying to be Mahomey. It's just because his arm's messed up. But all of a sudden in the second half, he looked fine. And the Rams looked really good in the second half. The Niners couldn't get a stop. All of a sudden, the Rams defense was kind of holding San Francisco a little bit, given they got very lucky with the way that the 49ers played. Moody missing the 55-yarder, Ronnie Bell dropping that pass by Purdy. And again, yes, no Kittle, no Debo, no McCaffrey, obviously still. But still, the Rams in their own right, no Cooper Kupp, no Puka Nacua. They're missing big-time players. And Matthew Stafford and the guys got it done. I think they go to Chicago and beat the Chicago Bears. I'm not impressed with Chicago at all. And again, it wasn't Caleb Williams last week. It's just the team as a whole. Their run game still is not productive at all. DeAndre Swift cannot get going. Is it his fault? No, it's the line. But they cannot get any room for DeAndre Swift running the football. Is Keenan Allen ever going to play football again? I don't know. I have him on my fantasy team. I want him back. But I'm just not impressed. Caleb has made mistakes in plus territory multiple times this season. I think the Rams, they go in here and shock a lot of people. This game's either going to go one of two ways. The Rams edge out a very close game and win it, or the Chicago Bears blow them out at Soldier Field. There is not another way this game could go. It's going to end one of those two ways. I'm hoping the Rams edge out a victory. Again, I think I'm just cursed picking the Los Angeles Rams, though, if I'm being honest. If I get this one wrong, I'm actually cursed. Because, again, I have picked them in every single game they've had in the last 5 games. I've gotten them wrong picking the Rams. But then, of course, I go pick the Niners last week, get it wrong. And now if I go back to the Rams and they lose the Bears, I'm cursed picking Los Angeles if that happens. I'm just saying. Give me the Rams to go on the road and win, though. I am not a Caleb Williams hater. I'm not. I just don't think the Bears are as good as people think they are. Sure, they made some moves in the offseason, but obviously that didn't help them enough. Just look at them. Again, there's a reason they had the 9th pick last season to pick Rome Odunze. I think it was like 6 or 7. There's a reason. The team's still not very good. Chicago will be good eventually. This isn't their year. Yeah, give me the Rams to cover the 3 and to win the football game. To our next one, the Vikings go to Green Bay to take on the Packers. I mean, I got the jersey on. I'm not a Vikings fan. I just really like this jersey. I think it's really cool. And I found it at Ross for like $12. But anyways, I'm taking the Vikings to win the football game. I'm taking them obviously to go into Green Bay and cover. Now, this has been the shock team of the season. Obviously, no one expected the Vikings to be in this spot, but Sam Darnold again is the unsung hero so far of the 2024 NFL season. Again, you can make the case Sam Darnold should be the MVP right now. Justin Jefferson is healthy. He's still looking great. Jordan Addison again is back into the mix as well. And their run game with Aaron Jones has not been bad either. Again, this team last week in Minnesota, they beat Houston. We got that one right. Again, we cashed with an underdog pick in that game in Minnesota with the Vikings against the Houston Texans. And again, the Vikings are just playing really good football, and they don't even have their tight end yet back. Again, TJ Hawkinson's out to week 6. We'll see what version of TJ Hawkinson we get back. But hear me out, guys. I think Jordan Love coming back actually helps the Vikings here a little bit. Not because Malik Willis is better than Jordan Love. That's not the case. But Jordan Love, I don't know if he's truly going to be back at 100%. But I know the Packers have been trying to get him back involved. They wanted him to start last week in Nashville against the Titans, but again, he just couldn't make that day. So they had Malik Willis take the revenge game against Tennessee and win. Shout out to Malik Willis. And no shout out to the Titans. We're going to get to them later. The Tennessee Titans. We'll get to them. But again, I think Jordan Love actually playing helps the Vikings. He's coming back into the swing of things only 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I guess, since that knee injury the ankle injury, and where initially it looked really bad in Brazil against the Eagles. I think him coming back and kind of being rushed in this spot actually does help Minnesota. I don't know how great Jordan Love is going to be for this team this week. Not to say he's not going to be excellent in week 5. That's not to say that at all. But coming back in this particular week, I don't know how great how good Jordan Love will be. And the Vikings are playing spectacular football. The defense is all over the place. They stopped the 49ers. They stopped the Texans last week. And again, they're going to get a Jordan Love who's coming off of injury. Yeah, I really like the Vikings in this football game. And the offense, again, has been spectacular. Sam Darnold got the Joe Flacco script. Actually, no, we've got another quarterback who got the Joe Flacco script this season. We'll get to him in a minute. But Sam Darnold's playing excellent football. He's been much improved since when we last saw him as a starting quarterback in the NFL with the Carolina Panthers. And I really like the Vikings to go out here and win the football game. Their offense has been really good, and their defense has been stopping teams as well. Give me the Vikings to go on the road in Lambeau and win the football game and improve to 4-0. Guys, the Vikings right now are a top 5 team in football. I did not think that was going to happen. Their over-under on wins to start the season was 4.5. And if they win on Sunday, they're 1 win away from cashing that season total, which is insane. I saw people saying hammer the under after J.J. McCarthy and Jordan Addison got injured in camp. Yeah, real nice. On to our next one here. We now go to the Colts and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know why the Steelers are they 2-point dogs? They're 2-point favorites in Indianapolis. I don't know why. Pittsburgh's going to roll Indianapolis in this game, and here's why. It's not like the offense is going to put up an insane amount of points. And again, I don't know what the injury status of Russell Wilson is, but truthfully, I don't care. Justin Fields should be the starting quarterback of that football team until he loses, or until he loses 2 straight. And I get it. Again, Kenny Pickett had points in times where Kenny Pickett would win a lot of football games for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he wasn't playing excellent football. And I completely get that. Is Justin Fields playing the greatest ball? No, but he's doing enough to win football games. And ultimately, it doesn't matter. You don't need to switch quarterbacks when you're 3-0. And Justin Fields should remain the starting quarterback of this Pittsburgh team, again, until they lose back-to-back football games. And if he's the problem, then maybe you look to switch it back to Russ. But no, I don't care. Justin Fields should start for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to go on the road to Indianapolis. I think the Pittsburgh defense, though, is just going to give Indianapolis a lot of trouble. Again, everything for the Colts is based off the run game. It is. Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson, whoever's running the football, it's all based off of that, and their entire offense works off of that run. Anthony Richardson, again, a guy that I had a lot of expectations for this season. I think a lot of people had a lot of expectations for Anthony Richardson, and he just hasn't been all that great. He was really good in week 1. But the last 2 weeks, Richardson has left a lot to be desired. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the interception he threw in the end zone last week against the Bears. And sure, I like Richardson. I think he's going to be really good. He's going to be a really good starting quarterback in this football in the NFL for a very long time. I think he's going to be. And I absolutely love the play where Jonathan Taylor got the handoff of the goal line. Richardson is the one pushing him in the end zone after the handoff. So again, I really like AR. I truly do. I just don't know, again, how great he is going to be this season. It's like what I mentioned with the Bears. I don't know how good the Colts are going to be this year. He needs to actually throw the ball to Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman is a top 20 bare minimum receiver in the NFL, and he's not touching the football. And it's not because he's not getting open. It's just Richardson doesn't really look his way all that much. And yeah, Richardson's got the deep ball, and he's got his deep ball guys. Again, you got Adonai Mitchell, you got Alec Pierce. Those are his deep ball guys. Josh Downs should be coming back very soon. Well, Pittman, again, is your guy underneath that's going to free himself open and catch the football. Again, the Colts paid Michael Pittman Jr. all that money in the offseason. They made him the highest paid receiver in Indianapolis Colts history. You got to get your playmakers the football. So eventually, again, they have to involve Pittman in the offense. But I think the Steelers' defense is just too good. I think they're going to give the Colts a lot of trouble in this football game. Because, again, that Steelers' front line is dominant. They're going to be able to stop the run. They're going to force AR to throw the football, which I don't think is a bad thing. But I also do think you can AR makes some bad reads sometimes. He makes some bad decisions, and that results in them turning the football over. Again, we saw it last week against the Bears. He didn't play his best game on the road in Lambeau against the Packers. I like the Steelers to win this football game. Sure, will their offense blow you away? No, not at all. But guys, Justin Fields does just enough. Justin Fields does what he needs to do to win football games. It's that simple. This is a bad comp, but I'm going to make it because if you've been watching the Greedo Plays channel for a little bit, you know that we did a Pittsburgh Steelers, 2 years ago here on the channel, and literally, again, it's kind of the same thing. And I'm not comparing the two quarterbacks at all. This is a Madden reference. But if you watched that Pittsburgh Steelers franchise mode and you knew our starting quarterback in the second season of that franchise, I think we started like the second season like 13-0, and Jimmy Garoppolo was our quarterback. And again, it's not like because Jimmy Garoppolo played excellent football, but he did enough to win the football. He did enough to win because the defense was so good. Again, that's a Madden reference, but it kind of applies in a certain sense. And Justin Fields is playing better than Garoppolo did in that franchise mode, but still, right? Fields is doing just enough to win. He should be the starting quarterback. And again, he's a quarterback that is facilitating his way to victories, and credit to him. Again, he's seeing more success than what the Bears are doing right now. Sure, stats-wise, Caleb is playing better than him. But again, record-wise, one team's 1-2, one team's 3-0. Shout out the Steelers. They will go to 4-0 with the victory on the road in Indianapolis against the Colts. To our next one, we go to East Rutherford, New Jersey. We have got the New York Football Jets taking on the Denver Broncos. The Jets looked excellent last week. I got to give credit to where credit is due. And don't get me wrong, I'm a Rodgers guy. I mean, if you go back and watch the Week 1 predictions, I'm wearing an Aaron Rodgers jersey, right? I mean, Week 1, I'm wearing a Rodgers jersey. Week 3, I'm wearing a Baker Mayfield jersey. Actually, I'm wearing a Tom Brady jersey, but still a Bucks Tom Brady jersey. And actually, wait, the Jets lost in Week 1, the Bucks lost in Week 3. Oh, that's going to suck for the Vikings. Anyway, if the Vikings actually lose, that's going to start being a thing. I'm just going to start, I'm going to just start wearing Panthers jerseys. Actually, no, I have something to say about the Panthers later. But anyways, guys, the Jets are playing good football. They are. Rodgers has got this offense going, and this will be another game where they should beat up on one of these teams. The Broncos had a really good game last week. That's the game I paid the most attention to last week was Broncos-Bucks, because I'm very high on the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are a team I'm very high on. The Lions are a team I'm very high on, but especially the Buccaneers. Again, I'm not afraid to say it. I'm the biggest Tom Brady fan. I don't really have a favorite team anymore, but I still watch Tampa Bay because, again, the years Brady was there, I really like Chris Godwin. I really like Mike Evans, right? Those are the guys I'm going to cheer for still. And again, as Tom Brady has retired, I don't have a favorite team anymore, but I have players I cheer for. I cheer for Mike Evans. I cheer for Chris Godwin. I cheer for Jared Goff. I cheer for Zach Wilson. I cheer for these guys, right? Michael Pittman Jr., another one of my favorite players I really like. Will Levis too. But anyways, and I'll get to Will Levis. But right, we're looking at the Jets, right? And this team is playing really good football. They are. They're playing really good football. They beat up on the Buccaneers, on the Patriots last week. But going back to my point that I was going to make about the Broncos and the Bucks. Okay, the Bucks cannot get off the field. Bo Nix played his best football game he has played yet in the NFL. He was scrambling. They were converting on pretty much every single third down they had. And the Broncos defense, they were the ones to find a solution to how to beat the Bucks last week. And again, it was probably just an off week for the Buccaneers because the Broncos are getting as many points as they did last week at Raymond James this week at MetLife Stadium against the Jets. They're getting 7.5. I think the Jets actually covered that line. I think that was just, I'll be honest with you, I think that was just a 1 week performance of the Broncos. They're not going to replicate that. They are not. Especially against a good defense in New York and a team now with the Jets that is, putting points on the board. Rodgers is really working the offense. Allen Lazard looks to be back in Allen Lazard form. I can't believe I'm saying that sentence, but Lazard's looking really good with Rodgers back at his quarterback, right? Garrett Wilson's doing really well for this team as well. And shout out again to Braylon Allen, accompanying Breece Hall very well at the running back position. The Jets are going to start firing on all cylinders now. Again, they lost week 1 to the 49ers on the road in Monday Night Football, but that was Rodgers' first game in 364 days. Now this team's going to start getting going. The Jets are going to start proving why they are a contender. Personally, I don't think they win the AFC East right now, but that's fine. They make the playoffs. The Jets going to start firing on all cylinders now, right? Okay, Rodgers back. Rodgers back. Give me the Jets to go in, give me the Jets to win at home, and give me them to cover the spread as well. I think the Broncos, again, were just a one-week wonder last week. Bo Nix is not going to replicate that performance. He's not going to throw the football that well, and he's not going to have all that time in the pocket like he did last week against Tampa Bay. Give me the Jets to win and give me them to cover as well. All right. Andy Dalton takes on his former team, the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, it's the Bengals and the Panthers this week from Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. Guys, we are going with the Carolina Panthers. They should not be 4.5-point underdogs at home. The Cincinnati Bengals have not won a football game yet this season. Is it Joe Burrow's fault, like Shannon Sharp said? No, it's not. It's not. But the rest of the team just, the offense is playing all right. The defense can't get stops, it seems, and the offense, again, just couldn't make that play when they needed to push them over the edge. Just the Bengals are a very confusing football team, and I get it. Every year they start off slow. Well, this is another rough game for them because, guys, Andy Dalton has the Panthers now firing on all cylinders. I know I just made that same point about Aaron Rodgers, but the Red Rifle's back. He is so back. Look what he did last week against the Raiders. And again, the Raiders, they're the Raiders, but they still beat the Ravens 2 weeks ago, and you saw what the Ravens did against the Cowboys. We'll get to the Ravens on Sunday Night Football later. But guys, I'm sold on Andy Dalton. I'm so sold. I want Andy Dalton to win the Most Valuable Player award now. I kind of want Josh Allen to get that. But, I'm really cheering for Andy Dalton. And he is, again, the best quarterback on that team. If you go back and just watch when the Panthers get to the locker room in Las Vegas and just look how excited that team is, how they are rallying around the Red Rifle Andy Dalton. And maybe it's because these guys have seen in practice that Dalton is the best fit for their football team compared to Bryce Young. And again, what will happen to Bryce Young? That's a story for another day. I don't know where Bryce Young's going to be. And we'll talk about some potential quarterback solutions when we get to the Miami Dolphins Tennessee Titans game. I know I've promised a lot when we're talking about that Monday night game later on in the video, but still, I think Dalton's the guy for this Panthers team, at least for this season. Again, he looked excellent in that game against the Las Vegas Raiders. Can he replicate that this week? I don't know, but I think he should be able to shred the Bengals defense. I don't think the Bengals defense is very good. Jaden Daniels had a day against Cincinnati last week on Monday Night Football, and Andy Dalton should have a day himself. Now, they're going to be without Adam Thielen. Thielen's going on the IR right after I trade for him in fantasy, but it is what it is. Thielen's going on the IR, but they've got receivers. Deontay Johnson, Xavier Legette should be able to hold it down. The run game with Chuba Hubbard's looked pretty decent as well. And again, the play action game and the passing game to their running back as well in Chuba Hubbard, the Canadian player from Oklahoma State. Look great with Andy Dalton too, guys. I cannot state enough how great of a football game Andy Dalton played last week. I just think this is a crazy statement, guys, but I think the Panthers are the better football team when you compare them with the Cincinnati Bengals. Right now, in week 4, the Carolina Panthers are the better football team. From what I've seen, they're the better football team. Bryce Young was the problem. I'm sorry, he just was. He's too short. He can't see over the line. He's not athletic enough to make up for it like Kyler Murray does at his height. He doesn't have the footwork. He doesn't have the throw power. He doesn't have the precision to make up for it that Drew Brees had at that height. And Brees was a little bit taller than Bryce Young, but still. He doesn't have the mobility that Russell Wilson's got at that height. It's just, guys, I don't want to hate on Bryce Young. I'm really not trying to, but I'm just saying, I don't think he's equipped for the National Football League right now. Not to say he's not going to get another shot. Hell, look at Baker Mayfield. Looked like his career is over. Look at Jared Goff. Looked like his career is over at one point. Sam Darnold. I'm not saying Bryce Young's career is over. I just think he needs a change of scenery, and I think, again, it can get better for him. But in Carolina, he's done. He's done with the Panthers. They should trade him this season to maximize his value before Andy Dalton continues to put up numbers in this offense. Give me the Panthers to win the football game and give me them to cover at home. 4.5 as the home team is ridiculous in terms of being the underdogs. Guys, so far this season, everything has shown me that the Carolina Panthers are the better football team than the Cincinnati Bengals. And a Carolina Panthers team that is now being quarterbacked by the Red Rifle Andy Dalton against his former team. Yeah. Give me the Bengals all day long to lose in Carolina to the Panthers. The Panthers are the better football team right now with Andy Dalton. We go on to our final game of the 1 o'clock session, or the 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. session. This will be America's Game of the Week on Fox. For the first time, Tom Brady will not be calling a Dallas Cowboys game after calling the first 3. Brady returns to Tampa Bay. I'm a little bit curious to see if the Buccaneers make a special deal out of this, because Brady has not returned to Tampa since losing the wild card round in January of 23 to the Dallas Cowboys. He has not been back to Raymond James Stadium. He has made appearances in New England, but he has never formally made an appearance in Tampa Bay. And again, as a Tom Brady fan, I am someone who grew up a New England Patriots fan because of Tom Brady and became, I wouldn't say a Tampa Bay fan, but no longer cared really about the New England Patriots once Brady left and just followed Brady to Tampa Bay. Guys, I like to remember Tom Brady as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer because that's the most fun I ever had watching Tom Brady. And yeah, I watched Brady overcome the 28-3 comeback with the Falcons against the Falcons. I saw him come back from down 10 points in the fourth quarter against the Seahawks in Super Bowl 49. Trust me, I've watched pretty much every Tom Brady game there is to watch post ACL surgery. I've sat down in my living room and watched every Tom Brady game live post the ACL injury because I've just been old. I'm not that. I mean, like that's all the games that I've been old enough to actually watch. I have sat there and watched every Brady game. And again, my favorite moments watching Tom Brady is him as a Buccaneer. That's the most fun I ever had watching Brady play football. And you know, that 2020 season was incredible. He should have won the MVP in 2021, but that's besides the point. I'm the biggest Tom Brady fan you were ever going to find. And trust me, I watched America's Game of the Week because of Tom Brady, because again, he's not the best commentator. He'll get better, but still, that's how much of a fan I am of Tom Brady. I'm excited for him to return to Tampa Bay. I hope the Buccaneers make a huge deal out of it because he should be in the Ring of Honor. They will retire number 12 in Tampa Bay. He's not going to do it, but I want Tom Brady to go into the Hall of Fame as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. He's mended things with the Patriots and he's fixed all of that the relationship with Kraft and Belichick. But personally, again, I didn't like how the Patriots treated Brady at the end of his run. I want Brady to go in the Hall of Fame as a Buccaneer. He's not going to do it. He definitely will not. But anyways, Rob Gronkowski, on the other hand, no, he's going to go in as a Patriot too. But it's weird. Gronk really hasn't made an appearance in New England or really with the Patriots other than the Tom Brady roast on Netflix, which had a bunch of Buccaneers guys there as well. Anyways, when we look at this game with the Buccaneers and the Eagles, again, this will be Brady's first game back in Tampa Bay, but it doesn't matter. Brady's not playing. At least he's not playing yet. There's a chance, I still think there's a chance Brady comes back this season. I'm just saying. Again, he's getting, you can tell, watching Brady on commentary, he's getting the itch that he wants to come back. I'm just saying, if there's an injury that opens up, let's put Tom Brady back in the mix. He is officially an unrestricted free agent as well. Okay, this is enough of the Tom Brady talk. I'm taking the Buccaneers to be the Eagles. Okay, sure, I know. Again, the Eagles won the game last week against the Saints. It's a very good football team, and the Buccaneers lost last week at home against the lowly Denver Broncos. That's fine. That was a trap game for the Buccaneers. I'm sure they were somewhat looking ahead to this week against the Eagles. This is the rematch of the wild card round last year, a game that the Buccaneers won, and it's fun fact, it's the football game that the game that I put the most money on a single game was me betting on the Buccaneers to beat the Eagles. I was so confident Tampa Bay was going to win that football game. They were underdogs at home, which was absolutely ridiculous. But anyways, Tampa Bay, I think they should be able to bounce back here. I'm a little bit scared of their defense, but what Tampa Bay's always had is a really good run defense. And, you know, Bo Nix beat them in terms of running the football just because he was able to, again, move mobily throughout the pocket or whatnot. Jalen Hurts can do the same thing too. But the Eagles are not going to be able to kill the Buccaneers with their run game in terms of running the ball at the running back. Tampa Bay and Todd Bowles has always been really good against the run in terms of dealing with running backs. Now, quarterback mobility, that's something else, but still, the Buccaneers have always been able to stop really good running backs. I'm not concerned with Saquon Barkley having a field day against this Tampa Bay defense. I'm a little bit scared with their pass defense, but no Devontae Smith. We'll see if A.J. Brown plays. I feel like A.J. Brown has to play. Just even if he's not 100%, they need someone. What they're going to run Britton Covey and Jahan Dotson out there. Like, no, they've got to play A.J. Brown this weekend for the sake of my fantasy team, my first round pick. Please come back to me, A.J. Brown. I have Jalen Hurts as well. I need both of you. I also have Chris Godwin and Baker Mayfield. But anyways, I'm actively trying to trade those two guys away right now for Tyreek Hill. But anyways, I think the Buccaneers defense should be good enough. They should be good enough to stop the Eagles. I'm not concerned with Jalen Hurts killing them through the air. I would be concerned with Saquon Barkley, but again, Tampa Bay's always played the run really well, and Tampa Bay has always played Jalen Hurts pretty well as well. I don't know if Jalen Hurts ever beat Tampa. I think he's 0-2 against them. I might be forgetting a game. Did they play in 22? I don't think they did. No, I believe Jalen Hurts is 0-2. Both wild card rounds. I believe the only time he's ever played Tampa. I think, right? No, he might be 0-3 because, God, who was the quarterback when AB scored 2 touchdowns? It was 20. No, that was 20. Was that 20 or 21? It was the Eagles play the Bucs on Thursday Night Football. I don't think that was Jalen Hurts yet, though. Was it? It might have been. He's either 0-2 or 0-3. Wait, no. Did the Bucs lose that game? No, they won that game, I think, on Thursday night with Brady. I think they did. Besides the point, I think Hurts is either 0-2 or 0-3 against the Buccaneers. I'm sure I could look that up, but I'm doing this off the top of my head because I think it's more fun this way. You can fact check me if you want. I could be totally forgetting games too. They might have played in the regular season last year, and I actually totally forgot about it. That actually very well could have happened. I don't know. But regardless, I'm sure I remember the Brady days pretty easily, though. I think the Buccaneers are better. Again, I think they can bounce back this week. I like what the offense is able to do. Again, they had a bad week last week against the Broncos, but Tampa's offense is not going to stall out 2 weeks in a row. They just have too many weapons for that to happen. They're using Bucky Irving a lot more, which, again, sucks as a Rachaad White fantasy owner, but Bucky Irving has so far looked like the better runner of the football. I think still pass-catching-wise, Rachaad White's better, but Tampa Bay's got too many weapons and too many good football players to not win this game at home against Philadelphia. Again, the Eagles, sure, they're 2-1, but they have not been an impressive 2-1. Give me Tampa Bay to win this game at home, and they cover the spread as well. Are they underdogs? Yeah, they are. They covered the 2.5, obviously, if they're going to win the football game. As home dogs, give me the Buccaneers to win the football game, obviously, and to cover the spread, too. Okay, on to the afternoon games. We got the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Washington Commanders. I'm really split on this pick. I truly am. I like both these teams a lot. Even the Cardinals didn't look great last week against the Detroit Lions. I still think the Lions are my pick right now to win the Super Bowl. For now, that's going to change, of course, as the season moves on. But through the first, I picked the Lions at the beginning of the season, and I'm still sticking with the Detroit Lions as well. I think right now they are the team to beat for me, personally. I think they're better than Kansas City. Buffalo's interesting, but I think eventually, again, Buffalo's going to start to fizzle out a little bit. Even though, hell, I love Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen's having a great football season this year, and we're going to talk about him on Sunday Night Football against the Ravens coming up. But the Cardinals, again, I don't think it's a bad loss against the Lions. I think the Lions, again, are one of the better teams in football. The Washington Commanders looked very good last week against the Cincinnati Bengals. Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in this draft class for now. I'm not saying Caleb Williams at some point won't surpass him, but currently Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in that draft class. He needs to learn how to slide. He did it once last week on Monday night, but again, I just don't want to see Jaden Daniels get injured. I don't want to see an RG3 replica here, and I'm not saying that because of the way they play, but I kind of am. Yeah, I'm saying this because of the way he plays. I just don't want to see Jaden Daniels get injured. It kind of feels like the same scenario again. Hyped up quarterback, Heisman Trophy winner in Washington. I just hope it just doesn't get messed up because, again, RG3 is one of the most fun football players to watch, and Jaden Daniels is along those lines as well. Jaden Daniels is very fun to watch. And he's doing it with relatively very limited weapons. Austin Eckler is going to be injured this week, which I do think kind of hurts Washington, considering now Brian Robinson has to be the pass-catching back as well. Eckler, again, Brian Robinson catches passes in his own right, but now Robinson has to be that 100% of the time this week in Arizona. On top of that, again, Jaden Daniels' weapons aren't the greatest. Terry McLaurin, don't get me wrong, is a very excellent receiver. But other than that, what does he have? He's got Luke McCaffrey, he's got De'Ami Brown, he's got Zach Ertz, who's actually been really good this season for Washington. Ertz has been a very great safety valve for Jaden Daniels in his rookie season. And Washington's defense has not been horrible either. I just think they run into a tough game with Arizona here. I think the Cardinals are just the better football team. And also, it's the Cardinals' third straight game in the desert, third straight game at home. Again, this is a long trip for Washington, going cross-country all the way down to Glendale, Arizona. I just think it's a rough game for them. I think the Cardinals are better. Kyler Murray's got this offense working for the most part. Yeah, they had trouble against the Lions, but still, Kyler was making the Lions work, and Kyler Murray, again, looks like he's back in, I don't want to say prime, because that was like his third year in the NFL, but he looks like he's back to where he was that last year that the Cardinals made the playoffs in, 21? Kyler's back, and he's got Marvin Harrison now. James Conner, it depends on the game with James Conner, truly. But I like the Cardinals a lot in this football game. I think they beat Washington. They're the better football team. Give me the Arizona Cardinals to go out here and win the game and cover the 3.5 as well at home. Next up, this should be the biggest blowout of the week. We got the New England Patriots going to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. Now, again, 5 years ago, I'd be super pumped for this matchup. It would be Brady returning to home, or he went to Sarah High School, but he grew up around here. Again, this would be Brady returning to Santa Clara to take on the 49ers, or returning to the Bay Area to take on the 49ers. Now it's Jacoby Brissett's playing the 49ers. I don't know how healthy the Niners will be this week. I assume George Kittle's going to play. Debo, I don't think so. Obviously, McCaffrey's not playing. Ricky Pearsall should be back next week, I think, and that will help a lot because then Ronnie Bell's not catching that ball at the end of the game. That's Pearsall instead. I don't care. The 49ers had a horrible week last week, and don't get me wrong, I was the most disappointed person in the entire country that the 49ers couldn't beat the Los Angeles Rams, considering, again, I pick the Rams every single week. And then last week, I was like, you know what? No, the Niners are obviously going to win this football game. I had them parlayed with the Lions. That was going to be like plus 130. I felt really great about it. The Lions took care of business. And what did the 49ers do? They laid a massive egg. It's not Brock Purdy's fault, though. Guys, Brock Purdy, he's not on this level yet, but Brock Purdy's looking like a prime Russell Wilson. That might be a hot take. It might be. But that's along the lines of what Brock Purdy has been this season. You want to say Brock, he's just complimented by his weapons? Well, look what he's got going on. 7 drops last week in Los Angeles for his receiving core. Juwan Jennings put up 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. And what, you gonna tell me Juwan Jennings is a star receiver in the NFL? He's good, but is he a star? No. No Debo. Ayuk's dropping the ball every other play. McCaffrey's not playing. Kittle's hurt. Brock Purdy, guys, is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, and he's not getting the credit for being a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Purdy, I believe, leads the NFL in passing yards as well this season. Again, he's doing this without his weapons. Imagine what happens when he gets his weapons back. Brock Purdy's a very capable quarterback in the NFL, and they're going to blow the brakes off the New England Patriots. This might be the last week of the Jacoby Brissett experiment, obviously. We saw Drake May come in the fourth quarter last week on Thursday Night Football against the Jets. I always thought, again, when looking at the New England Patriots schedule, that Jacoby Brissett was kind of just taking the fall for New England at the beginning of the season so Drake May wouldn't get out to a bunch of losses in a row. Because, again, week 1, Cincinnati, right? Tough game. Week 2, Seattle, tough game. Week 3, Thursday night against the Jets. But then look at the rest of their schedule. Or 49ers, too. Don't want to play that game with Drake May. But then Dolphins at home, and look what the Dolphins are doing right now. So you get the Dolphins at home. Texans a tough game, but it's at home. Then you go to London to take on the Jaguars, who have not looked very good this season. Those are games you can get Drake May in. Jets at home, tough, but still at home. Titans on the road, doesn't look like it's going to be that tough of a game. Bears on the road, doable. Rams at home, doable. Dolphins on the road, doable. Colts at home, doable. Cardinals on the road, that's a tough game. But, right, I mean, this Patriots schedule from here on out is not very hard. Their toughest opponents came in the first 4 weeks of this season. And now this is where Drake May can get going. I think he starts next week at home against the Miami Dolphins, but I think the 49ers win this game and they cover fairly easily. I don't think the Patriots are very good. They had some miracle first 2 games this season, but again, the Patriots team that showed up last week to play Thursday Night Football against the Jets is what the Patriots are. They're not very good right now, and they're not going to get much better with Drake May. They're just not going to. He's a rookie quarterback. It's going to be rough for him, but the Patriots are not that good, and the 49ers are going to absolutely obliterate them at home at Levi's Stadium. Let's go into our next game here. Browns and Raiders. Oh, man, a tough game to pick here because the Raiders go from beating the Ravens to losing to Andy Dalton and the Panthers, which I don't think is a bad loss at all. I love Andy Dalton. The Red Rifle, again, he's going to dominate this week against the Bengals. And then you got the Browns, who lose the Cowboys week 1, win week 2, where they look decent. And then week 3, where they beat the Jaguars, though. And then week 3, they lose at home against the Giants. And now now they're going to go all the way to Vegas. Yeah, rough game. Truly, rough game. I think it's a difficult game for them. This is a big game for Gardner Minshew because if the Raiders don't win it, I think there is going to be rumblings, at least, of such that Aiden O'Connell should be starting for this team at quarterback. Hell, Aiden O'Connell went in the last drive of the Panthers game in the fourth quarter and scored a touchdown. He threw that pass to, I believe it was Jacoby Myers. Was it Jacoby Myers? No, it wasn't Jacoby Myers. Someone else on that Raiders team. It wasn't Devontae Adams. Again, I have Devontae in fantasy. He's not doing anything. Traded Alvin Kamara for him before the season started. But anyways, I think there will be pressure if Gardner Minshew doesn't win this football game for the Raiders this week. I think he will. I think they actually do beat the Browns because the Browns just don't impress me. Their offense is just not very good. They don't give Jerome Ford the football enough. They're just Deshaun Watson, I don't think is bad as people think he is, but his mobility is not great sometimes. His arm doesn't look all that right. Like, I don't know. Again, the Deshaun Watson that was the MVP candidate, that was one of the best football players in the NFL on the Houston Texans. Well, that Deshaun Watson went away, and that Deshaun Watson is still on the massage table. He's gone, guys. Like, he's not as bad as people make him out to be. He's not. And Deshaun Watson is not liked for, again, certain reasons. But that's besides the point. I think Deshaun is a little overhated football-wise. I think he is. I think Deshaun's a little overhated in terms of as a football player, just because of off the field, just because of his contract. Don't get me wrong. Does he deserve the contract? No, he doesn't. The way he's playing, he does not deserve the contract. But I do think Deshaun Watson, again, he gets a little bit overhated in terms of football ability. I'm not going to talk about what he's done off the field. I'm not talking about that at all. But in terms of his football skill, I think he's overhated a little bit. However, I still think they lose this football game. I don't think Deshaun's as bad as people make him out to be, but the supporting cast hasn't been all that great this season. The defense has just been okay. Again, Malik Neighbors torched this Cleveland defense. But yes, the Browns do have times where they truly just completely stall out on offense. And I think they go on the road against the Raiders, a team that was able to beat the Ravens earlier this season. Again, it was an off week for Minshew last week, but again, like the Buccaneers, we are buying into the bounce back opportunity for the Las Vegas Raiders. I think they bounce back this week and they pick up the win against the Cleveland Browns. Give me the Raiders at home to win and to cover. I believe they are 1-point favorites. They're obviously going to cover the 1 point. Give me the Raiders to win and give me them to cover the football game as well. On our next one here, this is CBS's game of the week. Tony Romo is going to be obsessing over Patrick Mahomes in the call. We have got the Kansas City Chiefs going on the road to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. This game is all dependent on if Justin Herbert plays or not. Let me check as of, again, I'm recording this on very early Wednesday morning. You are seeing this Wednesday midday, I assume, or whenever you see this video. Let's check what Justin Herbert's injury status is, because honestly, I don't know what it is. Again, he, of course, didn't finish the game in Pittsburgh last week against the Steelers. But if Herbert doesn't play this week, things drastically change. Herbert is hoping to play against Kansas City. Nothing surgical is going to happen. Actually, no, that was Joe Alt. Oh, Joe Alt's not playing this week either. Oh, this could be bad, actually. Oh. And it looks like Herbert might not play this week because Jim Harbaugh kind of just didn't answer it. He's still in a walking boot. Oh. No, I'm still taking the Chargers plus 8.5. The Chiefs aren't that good this season. The Chiefs would definitely win the football game, and 8.5 might be not great. I would definitely wait to bet this game if you're going to bet it. I'd wait till Sunday and see what's happening, because if Herbert's playing, I don't think this line moves that much. I think probably you'll still sit at like 6.5, which I understand is a huge jump from 8.5, but if Herbert will buy you 2 points. Now, if you can get this game at 7.5, and it depends where the Herbert injury status is, that'll all depend. But I don't think the Chiefs are that great this season. They have to go on the road to Los Angeles. The Chiefs have struggled with the Chargers in the past, just historically. They have, especially the good Chargers teams, right? I mean, a couple years ago, Herbert week 1 beat them. They had trouble, I believe it was a couple years ago on Thursday Night Football. I think the Chiefs had trouble in Los Angeles 1 week. I remember that one game a long time ago on, I think it was Monday or Thursday Night Football, where Phillip Rivers in his last season in Los Angeles, or second last season in Los Angeles, went into Arrowhead and won that football game, a huge game. That one year the Chargers were really good and they lost to the Patriots in the divisional round of the playoffs. Nothing less, though. The Chargers have always played the Chiefs tough, so 8.5 is a lot of points in this football game. And also, the Chiefs just haven't blown me away this season. They haven't. They've gotten their fair share of calls, more than fair share of calls in terms of penalties and whatnot. But yeah, this team doesn't look that great. Their defense has been okay. They played really good red zone defense. I'll give them credit. Again, the Chiefs defense, when they need to bear down and play red zone defense, they do it. But I don't think it's Mahomes' fault, but just the offense just hasn't looked that great this season. Obviously, Pacheco's out. Carson Steele is going to be doing a lot of the running duties. And yes, Kareem Hunt will be in the mix this week, which I'm really excited for, because I do think Hunt's going to help this team out a lot in terms of just giving them some mobility at the running back position. I think he's a much better P. Ryan, obviously. But Travis Kelce just looks off. I don't know if Taylor Swift just took the talent away from him. I don't know. Again, whatever. I don't know what's going on with the childless cat lady, Taylor Swift. Don't get me started. It's pissed me off just thinking about it. But football-wise, Travis Kelce's not been the same player this season. He looks defeated on the sidelines. And again, you can buy into what you think with the Swifties on Twitter, or breaking down Kelce and Mahomes and just how they're looking at each other in the silence or whatnot. But yes, Kelce does look a little bit I wouldn't say defeated, but he looks just worn out already in the season. Maybe it's because he's not getting the football, but also he's not getting open. He's not been as quick this season. He just hasn't looked like the same guy. And Travis Kelce's 35 years old. Don't get me wrong. Again, personally, I don't really like the Taylor Swift stuff, but I'll give credit to where credit is due. Travis Kelce's one of the best tight ends of all time. I'm a realist here. Kelce's a phenomenal football player. He hasn't looked like that this season, though. And I don't think Mahomes has been bad this year. Mahomes will probably never be the problem with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's just, again, though, Travis Kelce changes his football team. Travis Kelce is a bigger need and a bigger asset for this Chiefs team than Tyreek Hill ever was. It's just that's how game-changing Travis Kelce is. And again, how game-changing Tyreek Hill is on the other side, but still, right? That's how big Kelce is for this football team. And when Kelce's not 100%, or when Kelce's not Travis Kelce, it's rough. And that's why I don't think they cover this 8.5 against the Chargers. The Chargers run game, J.K. Dobbins didn't really get off what he did in weeks prior before that Pittsburgh game, but he should bounce back this week against this Kansas City defense. I don't mind the receiving core right now for Los Angeles. Johnson and McConkey are doing a decent enough job. They just gotta have a quarterback that can give them the football. Now, is Taylor Heineke that guy? I don't know if he is, but again, if Herbert's playing, I think they cover this easy. If it's Heineke, we'll see. But for now, I'm thinking Herbert will give it a go. They cover the 8.5. Even with Heineke, I would like that number to be 10.5, but I'm not against taking it with Taylor Heineke. That's more of just, I don't think the Chiefs are levels ahead of Los Angeles like that. The Chargers defense, guys, this season is very good, and they're going to keep them in this football game. Let's go on to the final 3 games, all in primetime, obviously. We've got the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Buffalo Bills. Guys, the Buffalo Bills, I don't know if they're the best team in football right now, but Josh Allen's the best player in football. Period. That's it. He's the best player in football. I will be damned if Josh Allen doesn't win the MVP this season. He's the best player in the game. That simple. Watch Josh Allen play. He's got the most talent in the NFL right now. He's an excellent runner. He's got one of the best arms in football. His decision making is great, and it helped. And it helped this team so much. It helped the Buffalo Bills so much that Stephon Diggs is no longer on this football team. It just has. Call it the power of friendship. Call it what you want it to be. But again, it has helped that Stephon Diggs is no longer here. Because again, Josh Allen has been able to distribute the football better. As I just realized, I didn't pick the Jaguars-Texans game. So I will get on that. I totally forgot about that game. So we will, as I was talking about that, I didn't talk about the Texans this week. Okay, after this game, we'll get to Texans-Jaguars. I don't know why I totally forgot that, but we will get to Jaguars-Texans after this game, and then we'll get on to Monday Night Football. But anyways, Josh Allen's able to, throw to all his weapons. Keon Coleman is getting better in his role. Dalton Kincaid's a very good tight end. Of course, you got Curtis Samuel and whatnot. James Cook's been a superb back for this Buffalo Bills team as well. And the Bills are just playing good football, and I think they're the better team compared to the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens just won their first game last week against the Dallas Cowboys, and the Cowboys haven't blown anybody away this season. Derrick Henry, he's not washed up, don't get me wrong. Derrick Henry can still run, but I think the Bills should be able to find a way. Again, they're just going to stuff the box, and they should be able to stop Derrick Henry and just, again, force Lamar Jackson to throw the football, which is the best way to beat this Baltimore Ravens team, and I think the Bills are going to do that. And I just think, again, the Bills' offense is going to be able to score, and they've been able to do this so far this season. They've been able to score ever since that second half against the Arizona Cardinals in week 1. The Buffalo Bills have been able to score pretty much at will throughout every single game they've played. Nothing's going to change in this game. The Ravens just won't be able to keep up. Again, Josh Allen is the best player in football right now, and he should win the Most Valuable Player award. Again, look at his weapons and look at what he's doing with this football team. Again, Josh Allen is the best player in football right now, and I think it's pretty undeniable. Give me Josh Allen, the Bills to win the game on the road. I don't care if this game's at M&T Bank. Again, I just think Buffalo's better. I think they've got the better offense. Their defense should be able to hold Baltimore enough. And because they have the better offense, the Bills are going to win this football game. And they're just going to put up too many points to the point where the Ravens aren't able to keep up. Give me the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen to win the football game on the road on Sunday Night Football, improving to 4-0. How about the Bills, man? One of the better teams in football. Maybe the best team in football right now. The Buffalo Bills win in advance to 4-0. Okay, here's the game I forgot. The Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. You probably forgot about it too. Just be honest with yourselves. You probably, unless you're a Jaguars or a Texans fan, you didn't watch this video and get to this point and say, hey, what happened to the Texans and the Jaguars? I mean, if you did, shout out to you. But guys, nobody cares about this football game because the Texans are going to win. I actually think the Jaguars cover the 7. I think they find a way to stay in this football game, I hope. Just for the sake of the Jaguars and for the sake of Trevor Lawrence. I want Trevor Lawrence to succeed, but he's just not been a good football player this season so far. And I need Trevor Etienne to succeed as well. Again, I have Trevor Etienne in fantasy. Travis Etienne, my goodness, his brother Trevor is still playing college football for Georgia. But the Texans last week, again, we called it, right? We said the Vikings were going to win that game at home, and what happened? Again, shout out Minnesota. Yes, this is an old Dalvin Cook jersey, but whatever. Shout out the Vikings for beating the Texans. I think the Texans are going to be fine, though, as a whole. Again, CJ Stroud is still a very good quarterback, and he's very capable, and the Texans are the better football team. You just look at everything involved so far this season. Guys, the Jaguars have not scored more than 17 points yet this year. That's all you need to know. This is not going to be the game where they just put up an insane amount of points. The Texans defense, with the exception of that, actually, they weren't great in the Colts game, but they were pretty decent in the Bears game. Obviously, last week against the Vikings, they didn't play all that great, but I think Jacksonville will break their season record of 17 points. I think they put up 21, but at the same time, I think the Texans put up about 27, and I think the Jaguars do cover the spread, but the Texans will be in firm control of this football game throughout this game's entirety. They're the better football team. TJ Stroud's got the better offense, and I worry some about Jacksonville. I think, again, they're going to go, they should go run heavy, I think. Travis Etienne, I think is by far the best playmaker right now. I really like Brian Thomas, I do. But Etienne's their best pathway to success. They got to set up Lawrence with the run game, and I think that's what they will look to do. Mac Jones, obviously, is never going to be the starting quarterback of this football team, so Lawrence has as much job security as possible. Obviously, we're just signing the contract as well. And again, I just want Lawrence to succeed. Unfortunately, guys, for the Jaguars, they're going to go to 0-4. And at the beginning of the season, I did not think the AFC South was going to be the worst division in football. I actually said it was going to be one of the better divisions in football. Well, I'm not afraid to say I was wrong. I'm not afraid to say it. But the Texans are going to win this football game. They're just better than Jacksonville. And until Jacksonville wins a football game or looks impressive in a football game this season, I can't pick them. I can't pick them with the offense right now. Their offense is pitiful. And it's not because Evan Ingram's hurt. It's just, obviously, Ingram's not that big of a part of this offense. Just Jacksonville hasn't looked good the entire season. And this is not going to be the week that they just step up and put 28, 30 points on a team. They're not beating the Texans. The Texans win at home at NRG. Okay, now we go to the Monday night games. Again, we were a little off pace right there. Forgo the college football game I just showed for a second there. I believe it was the Arizona-Utah game. Again, go check out our college football predictions if you haven't yet. But we've got the first Monday night football game next week, the Titans and the Dolphins. Okay, so again, I'm going to talk about two things when we talk about this prediction for this game. Okay, I'll get the actual prediction out the way because they're even odds. You can't tell on the screen right now. The Titans, I think, are going to win this football game. And yeah, have I picked the Titans all 4 weeks this season? I have. Well, no, I took them to cover against the Jets. I didn't take them to win the football game, but I've taken them to win the other 2 weeks this season. Guilty. Okay, but fine. It's okay, guys. The Titans are not going to lose again, though. They played the Dolphins on Monday Night Football late in the year last year, and they won. Will Levis had the comeback of the Titans season last year, and that was the game that gave me hope that Will Levis is truly going to be a very good starting quarterback for a very long time in the NFL. Will Levis has given us he's been on a generational run in terms of memes so far, not just in the offseason, because they're obviously that, right? But in terms of the actual season itself, I mean, hell, it starts in week 1. Sorry if me dropping my pen was a little bit loud, but it starts in week 1 with Will Levis going, after throwing a horrible pick. Week 2, obviously, Will Levis jumps forward and tries to pitch, on, God, what was I don't know if down it was. I think it was like 3rd and 5, tries to pitch it to Tony Pollard. If he just went down, they could have kicked a field goal in the red zone, but he decided to pitch it. That was his memorable moment in week 2. And then week 3, at the end of the game, Will Levis fumbles the football, and he just gets stuck on his, of the D lineman all over him, and Will Levis just flattened out like he's Flat Stanley. Will Levis, again, is on a generational run in terms of memes, and I'm not legally, or not legally, but I don't want to get demonetized. We're not going to talk about Will Levis's memes in the offseason. And maybe it's because Christian Brown is also happening now. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Regardless, this is the Titans' week. I'm going to keep continuing to believe in Will Levis every single week. He's not a bad quarterback, guys. He just makes stupid mistakes. It's like Zach Wilson. They aren't bad quarterbacks. They just make some bad mistakes sometimes that get on ESPN, that get all over Twitter, and that's everything that people know about. Oh, that Zach Wilson made a stupid mistake. Oh, Will Levis made a stupid mistake, and he's going, oh, no, he made a bad mistake, and he, put his hands on his head and dropped to his knees, right? Like, that's not all the game of Will Levis. Will Levis actually played a pretty good football game last week. He just made some stupid mistakes. Threw a bad interception for a touchdown. Other than that, and other than the pick he forced at the end of the game, the turnover he forced at the end of the game, Will Levis didn't play that bad of a football game last week. And the Dolphins just look horrible. And they're on their 3rd quarterback. I think they're going to rush Tyler Huntley to start this week. No way they start Tim Boyle, right? It looks like Skylar Thompson's not going to play this week. Obviously, Tua's not going to come back for a while. I would assume they try to rush the Pro Bowl quarterback Tyler Huntley back this week. Obviously, they got him off the Ravens practice squad. I would assume they try to get Tyler Huntley going this week and just involved with the playbook and, try him on Monday Night Football. They get an extra day to prepare. I assume Tyler Huntley is going to get the starting nod this week. He should. He's the best quarterback other than Tua in that system. Snoop is very capable. But still, that's not going to fix the Dolphins' problems because, again, the Dolphins need. Again, we want to clown Tua for sometimes he doesn't play well with the weapons he has. But Tua, again, there's such a stark contrast between what Tua does for this offense and what Skylar Thompson does, what Tim Boyle does, and probably what Tyler Huntley does as well. These guys just can't manage this explosive, high-flying offense and, all the play fakes and whatnot that Tua does with all these motions and these yo-yos and whatnot. I don't think these other guys can handle it like Tua Tagovailoa does. I'm not saying other starting quarterbacks in the NFL can't. No, they definitely can, but it just, compared to these backups, Tua is just much needed for this offense. And the Dolphins will not be the same until they get a true starting caliber quarterback in the NFL. Adam Schefter talked about this the other day on the Pat McAfee show, that he doesn't know this for sure, but the Dolphins, he thinks, should be contacting 3 teams for 3 quarterbacks. The Browns for Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the Steelers for Russell Wilson, and the Broncos for Zach Wilson. Now, I think they should go after Zach Wilson. If you watched the channel before, you know how much I love Zach Wilson. I think he still hasn't gotten a fair shake in the NFL, and I want him to start eventually over Bo Nix. Again, last week set us back a little bit on the Zach Wilson agenda, but it's fine. I think Zach Wilson could operate very well in this Dolphins offense. He has the arm to do it. His playmaking, he's got great playmaking skills. His decision making isn't the best, but that's fine. Let him air it out. If he throws a million picks, he throws a million picks, but it'd be better than what they have right now with their quarterback can't even get the football out. Until, again, the Dolphins fix their quarterback problems, they're going to keep losing. I don't care they're at home this week. I mean, what's different that they're at home? Like, it doesn't matter. The Titans are going to go into Miami and still win this football game. All around, the Titans are the better football team than the Miami Dolphins, considering Tua's not playing. Because, again, the Dolphins' offense is going to remain stagnant until Tua or an actual quarterback comes into the system. Not saying Huntley isn't that, but Huntley just learning this offense will not be able to operate like these other guys can. Give me the Titans to win. I trust in Will Levis. Let's get it done, man. You can't go to 0-4. Got to get it done. But the generational run will continue for Will Levis, but it's going to continue in a victory this week on Monday Night Football. Let's get it done. All right, on to our final game of the week. The Detroit Lions take on the Seattle Seahawks. I've talked about it at length. The Detroit Lions are one of the best teams in football. I think they are the best team in football currently, though. Again, I would have to give that to the Buffalo Bills because they're undefeated. But the Lions are probably the second best team in all college football. In all football. And also, do not bet against Jared Goff at home. I know they lost the Buccaneers at home in week 2, but it's fine. Jared Goff on prime time at Ford Field is a whole other animal. That crowd loves Jared Goff. He is their favorite quarterback they have had in franchise history. I'm serious, more than Stafford when he was there. Those fans love Jared Goff, and Jared Goff loves those fans. That team plays differently at Ford Field, and that's why I think that, again, as of now, I think the Detroit Lions are winning the Super Bowl because they're going to get home field advantage in the NFC playoffs, and they're going to go to the Super Bowl where they're going to need one win to win the Super Bowl, obviously, because they're going to stay at home in the playoffs. This team plays differently at home. They played an excellent game last week against a very good Arizona Cardinals team. They were able to run the ball effectively, obviously, with Monty and Jahmyr Gibbs. That is the best 1-2 punch in all of football, obviously, in terms of the running game. Jared Goff, I will die on this hill. Jared Goff's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. He is. I understand he threw a bad pick last week, but it's fine. I will continue to say Jared Goff's a top 5 quarterback. He is the best guy for the Detroit Lions system. There are only a couple. There are a very short list of quarterbacks I'm taking in the NFL right now. If I start a team right now, there's a very short list of guys I'm taking over Jared Goff, and it ends with Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar Jackson. Anyways, Jared Goff, again, is one of the best quarterbacks in football. He's able to operate the play action. He is severely underrated, and Jared Goff, again, right now, I think Jared Goff leads the Detroit Lions to the Super Bowl. That might change as the season goes on, but they're the better team compared to the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks have not played a really good team just yet. They played a Dolphins team without Tua that's completely demoralized, that had to go on the longest trip that any team's going to have to do this season from South Florida up to the Pacific Northwest to take on the Seahawks in Seattle. They played a Patriots team that is not who we thought they were, and then they played, who they played in week 1? They played the Denver Broncos, who are the Denver Broncos. I don't care. Seattle hasn't played a really good team yet. This is the really good team they get. Geno Smith has played good this season. It's going to change this week because he's going to be in for a rude awakening this week in Detroit against the Lions. Again, I cannot understate how good the Detroit Lions are. They had a bad week in week 2 against Tampa Bay, but damn it, every team right now in the NFL is having a bad week at some point. There's not one team that's clearly levels ahead of everyone, obviously, but I do think the Lions are in that upper half of teams, and I think they are in the top 5 in the NFL, just like how Jared Goff's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL as well. I know it's a hot take, but it's fine. It's okay. I think the Lions win this football game. They impressed me a lot in Arizona. The defense really bared down against that Cardinals offense that gave the Rams a lot of trouble. They gave the Buffalo Bills a lot of trouble. They stopped Kyler Murray. They contained Kyler Murray. They got to Murray when needed. They stopped the run game of James Conner. For the most part, they limited Marvin Harrison as well. I don't really think the Seahawks are able to, do much on offense against this Lions team, and Detroit should be able to shut them down that side of the ball. And on offense, again, it is ground and pound for the Lions, but then they catch you off guard with the play action. They catch you off guard with Jared Goff dropping back and throwing dimes. That's what the Lions do. Don't forget, guys, Jared Goff was the second leading passer in the NFL last season. Give the man the credit he deserves. If the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl this year, Jared Goff's the first ballot Hall of Famer. Taking the Rams and the Lions to the Super Bowl, he'll become the fourth quarterback in NFL history to take two different teams to the Super Bowl behind, three Hall of Famers. Kurt Warner, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. Jared Goff will be the fourth. When the Lions go to the Super Bowl, remember this. Again, Jared Goff will be a Hall of Famer if the Lions win the Super Bowl this season, because, again, he's the first guy to win the Super Bowl with the Lions. And, again, don't tell me Jared Goff's just a game manager, because you don't put up those stats if you're a game manager. He will be fine. Jared Goff will be top 5 in the NFL in passing yards to finish the season, and the Lions will win this football game at home against the Seattle Seahawks. So, folks, thank y'all for watching our week number 4 NFL predictions here on the channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more NFL picks weekly. Make sure to go check out other predictions on the channel as well. We've got college football, UFC, and PFL as well. They're all linked in the description down below. And make sure to join us again next week for more. We got UFC. Alex Pereira is fighting next week against Khalil Roundtree Jr. for the light heavyweight championship in Salt Lake City, Utah. Of course, week number 6 college football predictions and week number 5 NFL predictions as well. Folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.